There are a few more distinctive Android phones on the market than the HTC One line. The company that experimented with unibody metal when most smartphones were plastic, HTC's critical acclaim is increasingly at odds with its commercial success. The company barely squeaked a profit last quarter, though it was the first time it spilled black ink in over a year. So with the One M9, it hopes to continue that ambling turnaround with a phone that is both a critical and commercial hit. Unlike Samsung or Apple's latest smartphones, which comprise the talk in a tick-tock cycle, the HTC One M9 is clearly an iterative upgrade over the still excellent M8. In fact, the device looks like a hybrid of the past two versions, with HTC resurrecting the grippier edges of the M7 while improving the brushed metal anodization of the M8. Still present are the front-facing boom sound speakers, which continue to provide some of the best sound from a mobile device on the market, and that beautiful 1080p display. But in 2013, the One M7 had one of the best displays in the business. This year, though, it's just a really good panel. The biggest change over the One M8 is the M9's 20.7 megapixel Toshiba rear camera sensor, which puts the phone more in line with what we've come to expect from high-end smartphones today. While the 4 megapixel ultra-pixel shooter has moved up front, HTC has alienated a lot of its core user base by abandoning the ultra-pixel branding on the phone's main camera. By moving to a 20 megapixel sensor, the individual pixels are inevitably going to be smaller, and therefore the amount of light they let in severely lessened. We tested a unit with final shipping software, and compared to some of the photos we took on pre-production builds back in February, the quality has come a long way. White balance and auto exposure in particular have been smoothed out, and the autofocus speed is as good as ever. But when compared to photos from the Samsung Galaxy S6 or iPhone 6, details are muddy, photos are underexposed, and colors are flat. Compared to the M8, the phone's extra resolution gets a boost in daylight shots, but the M9 just can't match its predecessor's low-light prowess. HTC still has an edge when it comes to manual camera controls, so tweakers have all the necessary tools at their disposal to turn mediocre shots into great ones. On the software side, Sense 7 feels like a natural progression of the company's previous versions. Aside from the theme engine, which is a big deal but nothing that we've used since we tried it in Barcelona, the software feels fast, fluid, and at times beautiful. Sense looks like it has for the past few years, and that's generally a good thing. Lighter and faster than on the M8, it feels mature and consistent, but boring in a way a well-worn pair of shoes just slides on and are forgotten. The company has taken some flack in the media for its thermal issues, owing to the problems reported about Qualcomm's Snapdragon 810 chip. I'll say this, it does get warm, but the recent software update fixed many of the issues I experienced in the pre-production unit, and I never felt it got too hot for regular use. One area where the device has improved over the last year is battery life. The device has a 2840 mAh cell, up from 2600 in the M8, and combined with the relative efficiency of Lollipop, I achieved better uptime than the equivalent Galaxy S6, though only by a few hours every day. Ultimately though, the M9 gets by on its core competencies. It's got a great screen, superb build quality, a decent camera, excellent battery life, and a solid future. It is, however, a little bit boring, and it has some regressions, like in the low-light camera quality. I'd still recommend it over the One M8, and I think that it's HTC's best device to date. It just may not be good enough to take on the big guys like Samsung and Apple, and that doesn't bode well for HTC in 2015.